it's Georgia Rose from Zencuda. Welcome to the Soul Space podcast. I'm here every Monday night at 7 o'clock live on Facebook and on Strong Island Television. And hey, I hope you're sharing the show. We've got a really good one for you tonight. I actually really read the energy in the world. I did a very deep meditation, and it really was very synchronistic with the astrology. So that's how I got today's subject matter for the show. When I went into the energy of the cosmos and what's going on in the world, I feel this emerging potential that's coming in. And I want to talk about that tonight and talk about the stars a little bit and what's going on out there in the sky. Just give me a second because I'm going to share the show just on the Zencuda page. Already did that on my other page. And you guys know you can also find me on Instagram, etc., on Zencuda Official on Instagram. And the YouTube channel, Zencuda, we replay the show there all the time. So all of our shows are banked there. And you can also watch me on Channel 20 on Fridays at noon on Optimum Cable. So I'm all over the place, right? You got me everywhere. So what is going on? Well, I know a lot of times this time of year, people make and set intentions of what they want to do with the next year for 24, right? Let's do more in 24. So we're not up to doing that yet. And when I read the energy, not just the way the planets are right now in the cosmos, but when I read the energy just of what's going on in the world and I really tapped into the vibration, I think that 2024 is going to be really great potential to make big changes in our life. And I think there's a lot of potential to move past obstacles, but I think we have to do some inner work now. So, on my last broadcast, I talked a lot about the December astrology and how we really needed to use December as a month to prepare. And now I feel like we need to use December in order to not only prepare, but really be introspective. And when we think about moving past obstacles and blockages, I think that we have to really look at the interior part of us, become introspective, and really look at where our belief systems are coming from and what they are. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And then if we have time, we'll go to these trusty tarot cards and do some readings. So stay tuned for the show. Let me look at my comments and see who is on right now. I always forget to lower my iPad before I come on. I have Janine and Pauline on. I have Carrie Ann on. Hey, guys, how are you doing? And Sarah's on. Sarah, I did give you a couple of days for scheduling a reading. So if you want to check your email. And Elaine is on. Welcome to the show. Elaine, I hope your husband's doing really well. I know that Elaine's husband is recuperating from some health issues. So Mercury's retrograde as of tomorrow. And as I talked about in last week's show, we were already in that shadow period of retrograde. So some of you may be feeling that. But what you're also feeling is the new moon coming in Sagittarius. The new moon in Sag is tomorrow. That occurs at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. So you want to look in your chart, see what's in Sagittarius. And also you might want to look at Gemini because that is opposite of Sagittarius. We've got a very, very active sky right now. There are squares going on with Pluto. There are conjunctions going on with Venus in the North Node. There's all kinds of things going on with Neptune. And I won't bore you guys with all the intricate aspects, but I'll tell you what the energy is about. How's that for a deal tonight? So what's at play in the whole sky is this Mercury retrograde in regard to other planets. We've got Uranus squaring Pluto, and we've got all these things that are very can be difficult energy, but in this sky with the new moon in Sagittarius, it brings in a lot of hope and a lot of optimism. And I talked about that on last week's show. So if you need to go back and play that show, you can find it on strongisland.com or my Zencuda channel on YouTube. And I said it's going to be a month where like gas break, because we have this beautiful optimism and hope that comes along. And then we get all these reality checks. So I want to dig a little deeper into that and explain that a little bit more, how I'm seeing that energy. So it's almost like the Uranus and Pluto square that we've got going on and some of the aspects to Pluto, which you know is deep transformation, right? So it's almost like those aspects to Pluto are creating noise. It's like this background noise. And I think a lot of us are very focused, distracted by this noise. We're focusing on it and it's distracting us from what we really need to be doing. We're looking at a lot of external things. We're looking at a lot of external energy and blaming that on things that we're feeling. For instance, things that are going on in the world or things that are going on in our own lives, in our own relationship to things. And I think that we're becoming very distracted by those externals. I think the real work we need to do this month is inside. And so we've got this Venus energy connecting to the South Node, which is an energy of our past, of the things that we not only bring into this lifetime, but the things that we hold on to make us secure. I always think of the South Node as a warm, fuzzy blanket. Like we might be getting overheated under it, but we don't want to take it off because we just like the way it feels, right? So that's what we do with a lot of the complexes and the stories that we run in our life. We hold on to them and we're attached to them because they're comfortable in some way, even though they can be uncomfortable in other ways and cause restrictions for us. We still like them. They're what we know, right? Like that old saying, the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know, right? And so I think a lot of us get stuck in that syndrome because we're just not ready to move forward because that's the obstacle, holding on to the things that, we think are our security when in effect they're our restriction. So Venus and the South Node are causing that kind of tension between what's old and what we know is new. And what we're feeling is this emerging potential to go towards what's new and go towards doing things in a different way. But we're being held back and restricted by that Venus South Node. Venus is the things we love and the things we're attracted to. And the South Node is the past. So it's holding us in this like container of, oh, we're just going to do what's safe. Don't move too far ahead. Don't move too far out of the norm. But then we have this other energy of Pluto finishing up in Capricorn, going towards Aquarius, which is the future. We've got Neptune in play. We've got Uranus, which loves change, in play. And we're being pulled like a magnet towards our emerging potential and the things that are going to really bring us the joy, the happiness, the love, the liberation. But we're still like being tied to the restriction. So it's this push-pull. And that's why we have clearing to do before February. So this December month is really a month where if I could give you guys any guidance at all in this new moon, it's be hopeful, but don't be hopeful and optimistic about something changing that has never changed and looks like it will never change. Don't have false hope in that regard. Be optimistic and put the hope and the healing on your own introspection and your own inner work to move towards a future where you do things in a different way. It's all up to you. And it's not up to you in the sense of, oh, I'm going to hope and pray that this relationship I have to my job or my family or my partner or an organization or a belief system changes and makes me better and makes me feel better. Some miracle is going to occur. No, that's not where to put the hope and the optimism. The correct way to use this energy as guidance for your own hope and optimism and your own strength and bravery in changing what you need to change. Because what's going to become highlighted in this new moon, which happens tomorrow at 20 degrees Sagittarius, this new moon, what it highlights is that tension between what's old and used up and decaying and of no use to me anymore, and the tension of what I need to go towards in order to do things in a different way. And it's going to be revealed to us in some kind of social setting. Because Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius energy is an energy that wants us to go out and be really social. You're going to feel like that party that you weren't going to go to, that you were going to kind of blow off. Now you want to go to it and maybe show up for a little while. And in some kind of a social environment, a social setting, is where you're going to see the path of those new evolutionary developments. So let me explain further. Mars is connected to the North Node in Aries in this new moon configuration. And Mars is our power. It's our get up and go. It's our energy. It's our ambition, our assertion. It can be warlike or it can be that determination that gets you where you need to be. So instead of using it for aggression, use that Mars energy aspecting the North Node for assertion. The North Node is our future destiny. The North Node is what we came into this lifetime to do. So even though Venus has the South Node entrapped in a culture of I'm going to stay with what's safe. I want to be attached to my past. Mars in the North Node is pushing you, compelling you, and attracting you to your destiny and what you know is the new evolutionary path for your soul. And so we have these new ways of being wrapped up in old energetic patterns. And the way that you're going to move these obstacles is you're going to get underneath them. You're going to meditate, become introspective, really be observant, really think about what's going on right now and what are you being shown. And it's going to come out in a way of something happening through the relationship patterns that you're going to have revealed through social settings, because that's that Sag piece. This new moon wants to point out what you value in relationships and also how you came to understand and embody and create those belief systems. So your ideals and your I can't say the word even. Your ideals and the I cannot say this word. That's never happened to me before. The ideals that you have are going to really come in very deeply into play with this new moon. And you're going to see the conditioning, the environmental patterns, the containers that you live in, that you've been in your throughout your life, that created your relationship to these patterns. Like, where did they originate from? Where did the ideology come from? Where did the relationship patterns that are deeply ingrained in you come from? Those can be revealed in these patterns because not only do we have the North Node and Mars aspecting each other, but they're aspecting Chiron, which is a planet of deep healing. So what's going to happen is this push-pull energy of holding on to my safety and going towards what will liberate me. It's this tension of choice. And the only way to overcome that obstacle is to go into the introspection of how it originated in the first place. Not just how the obstacle originated, but where did my belief system that this is how I'm supposed to be living and how I'm supposed to be reacting and how I'm supposed to be in relationship to this obstacle come from? So that relationship can be something that is your family, your work, your partner, your world, and yourself, right? How are you not saying your boundaries are okay? How are you saying certain boundaries are okay? How have you changed in the last couple of years? And how has your reaction in relation to things changed in the last couple of years because of these emerging patterns that keep gnawing at you and pushing you and prodding you, and maybe you don't have enough bravery or the assertion yet to see them through to liberation? So we have these obstacles in the way. We have this security versus restriction. We have this, I want to move forward, but I'm scared. And so now this March energy comes in to show us how we have to interface with this fear. Where did this fear originally come from? And it goes far back. It could be, generational trauma. It could be childhood patterning. But this is what the new moon's going to bring out. So it's going to be a bit of an emotional new moon, but it's also going to be a wonderful place where we can heal and find healing, because it's going to ask us and point out what we value in relationships and how we came to value those things. Where did this originate from? What's meaningful to us and what's purposeful for us? All the things that cause us to be attached to these obstacles are going to be kind of revealed if you're observant and if you really go in and can do the work about where they're coming from and deeply review that and do a little bit of a life review. And in this review process, asking yourself, what do I need to change so that I'm no longer attached to this obstacle? What do I need to change so that I'm no longer attached to this fear? How do I need to react in a different way and interface with my relationship with the family, the job, the person, the partner, myself, my world? And so that's all going to come out in this new moon. So it's the old ways that no longer works. When Pluto is conjuncting, is in aspect to the nodes, And we've also got the sun, the moon, and Mars all heaped up in that new moon. That's going to be going deep into what we're being prompted to do with that Mars North node. So there's something that's drawing you to a place, to a thing, to a dream, to a destiny. But if you allow the fear to be the obstacle, you won't get there. So what you want to do is understand and observe in your social environments these next few days. What's coming into play? What are you hearing? What are you witnessing? What's an aha moment? What just made you have feelings and sensation in your body? And it might be something very casual. It might be something that happens very quickly. It might be something that really is a major thing that occurs. But whatever it is, it's showing you what the future looks like and what you need to deal with. It's also going to show you what are the belief systems that you're holding about these relationships and the way you relate to them. And by relationships, that could be a relationship with a person. It could also be a relationship to something, a pattern, a place. You know, maybe you can't afford your home, but you won't move, right? It's this obstacle, this attachment. And so this is the work that we have to do. This new moon will bring out the underlying thing, the emotional pattern that's holding you in the place that no longer serves you. It's going to bring it out. It's up to you to do the work to become introspective enough and observe it enough so you can move on with it. This is also about the patterns, the spoken word and also the unspoken ways that we tell each other in relation, and we relate to everything in the world, where we tell each other the ways we're okay and the ways we're not okay, right? How do you do that? How do you manipulate? How do you relate? When you are upset about something or angry about something or jealous about something or feeling left out about something, do you pout? Do you cause issues? Do you get passive aggressive? What is the pattern that you use to tell the world, to tell yourself, to tell others when you're okay and not okay? And looking at that in this new moon prompts a really deep introspective response and reveals a way that now you notice and you reflect and you come to a place of, I need to do this different, and this is the way I need to do it from now on. So it's this inward examination process that's going to come through in these next few days. And it's really, really important because this is deep, essential work that we have to do in order to be able to partake of the emerging potential that's coming to us in the middle of January, towards the end of January, towards February in 2024. It's a whole life cycle that's coming that we have the opportunity to put an end to right now. It's a whole way of being that we have the potential and the strength to completely change in our operating system of the way we relate to things day to day in our life, and also in the bigger picture of who we're becoming and where we're going. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of deep work, but it's also really important work that we need to do. It's an analysis of how we form relationships, not just of the relationship. So the lower energy of this energy, these aspects, this new moon, the lower energy would be, I've been waiting for this to change for 30 years and it's never going to change, and I'm just going to be bitter and cynical, but I'm not going to do anything about it, right? That's the lower energy. Or you're going to just throw a fit about something you're tired of dealing with. That's the really lower part of the energy, because it's not about what's going on externally. It's not anything to do with that. The real work that needs to be done in order to change these patterns, rise above them, have a metamorphosis, you have to immerse yourself completely in yourself and what you need to change, what we all need to change in order to do relationships different, reveal the patterns of why we are doing them the way we are doing them, and that kind of blows up the obstacle and reveals them. So this is really about relationship with self. It's really about what's shaping and reshaping these circular patterns that we get lost in for years and years and years. we have the ability in an energy like this to reshape the rest of our lives and really go towards that north node, that destiny, that place that shows us why the soul was incarnated in this lifetime and what it wants to do. And so I strongly suggest doing a ritual where you are meditating, you are being deeply introspective, maybe shutting a phone off, shutting, devices off for a couple of hours, and just really going into a place of deep introspection and contemplation with the optimism of healing something, of being revealed in divine light, the plan for you to react and respond differently to certain things. There's an opportunity for action from inward reflection. It's the assertion, the power comes from the inward reflection, and then we're able to take the action. It's a great time to step into your own agency, your own power, your own understanding of why you do the things you do and why you need to change them. I'm going to try to give you an example, an example of this in my own life. I'm trying to think of one. Okay, I can think of one. So, about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, just about, it'll be 10 years in 2015, I closed my real estate company, and I merged it into a larger business and became senior vice president of that company. And it was the most excruciating experience of my life, closing my real estate offices. I wanted to do it. It was something I did and initiated on my own. No one was twisting my arm. There was no reason to do it that had to be done. I just really knew that my soul was going in a different direction, and I could not pursue the astrology, the spirituality, the gifts that I had with the business. I had to be in a different environment. I couldn't do the whole big, huge brokerage firm anymore, all on my shoulders. And I knew working for another company meant I could go home at 5 o'clock and have a life and go do my, training and my courses and my work and my spiritual work in the world. So I knew this was my destiny, and I knew I wanted to do it. But it was excruciating and harrowing for me to give up my baby. Even though I knew it was no longer my baby and it was no longer really where I wanted to be, a place where I always sought refuge, and it was just like a beautiful environment. And I had so much beautiful things happen there, not just, financial success and career success, but I used the platform as a service in the community. We used to do art shows at night, and I had, on Monday evenings, we used to do a whole spiritual night every Monday night. And it was just a great vibe and a great place. But I knew it was time to move on. Something else was calling my soul forward. And there were so many signs along the way that just were so synchronistic, but it was excruciating for me. And then finally, when I got to the last thing, I remember I was waiting for them to come and take my awning down. And it was the whole time I struggled with being embarrassed that I was closing a business, knowing I was doing it for my own free will. But it was just like this whole thing about hearing my dad's voice in my head saying, you need to own your business. You need to own a business. And I felt almost like I was betraying my dad in some ways. And I had to really understand that these feelings I had, typical South Node feelings, were not really anything to do with my world anymore. They were past conditioning from a dad who worked 12 hours a day and gave us a work ethic like you never saw. It was all about business, money, business, make money, go to work, blah, blah, blah. So the fact that I now was trying to actually almost go on a sabbatical and pursue my soul work was completely contradictory to everything I was brought up to do. So, and for many years of my life, my whole identity was my name on that awning, my name on the window, my name on the door, my name in the community as this person. So it was this whole security, which was bullshit, with what it really was restriction. But I was comfortable there because sitting in the restriction of that meant I didn't really have to leap off the cliff and take a risk. That's this energy. It's pulling you. It's singing the soul song. It wants you to move forward. But we're like, no, I really want to be on the couch and just watch TV with my blankie now, right? So that's what Westcott Group Realty was for me. It was like my refuge, my place. I knew when I walked across the floor there, I was loved and I was, looked up to, and I had a thing going, when I closed it, I put the last key in the door. I was like, okay, well, what am I waking up and doing tomorrow now, right? Because I didn't start the job for a while. So that summer, I backpacked around Fire Island a little bit, and I did a lot of stuff. I did Reiki on the beach. I would like wake up in the morning and be like, "Hey, I think I want to just do Reiki on the beach." And I'd put something up on Facebook, and I'd go do Reiki on the beach with strangers, and I'd go to drum circles, and I was just living my life the way I wanted to. Never did that before ever. But the weird thing about it was, as much as when I was in the process of ending the old life and going towards the new, it was excruciatingly painful. And like my whole, lower chakras thought they were going to fall out of my body. When it was finally done, it was the most comfortable place and the most brilliant place to be, that those couple of months where I was just in being. And it was wonderful. And it set the tone for the rest of my life. And so that's the energy. So don't be scared. That security is your restriction. That relationship that you're taking the BS from is restricting you and limiting your potential. And right now, with the way things are going in this energy, we have this emerging potential now, which is going to turn into real solid potential that you can hang your hat on come third week of January, beginning of February. That's when 2024 really changes the life cycles for all of us. So whatever is nagging at you now, whatever is trying to bring you forward now, go with it no matter how scared you are. White knuckle it, but do it, because it's your soul calling you. And there's tremendous amount of energy pushing you forward to get you out of these obstacles. So the lower end of this energy also is you will be tested. This is a lot about our idealism and the things that we firmly believe in. And newsflash, guys, the things that we firmly believe in, we identify with. Our identity is attached to them. Remember, I talked about those South Node attachments? Our identity is attached to these things. That Westcott Group real estate company was my complete and entire identity. So when I dismantled it, I was dismantling a part of myself that I had identified with for many, many years. Now, I'm still a real estate broker. I work for another company now. I do a lot of things in that company besides list and sell houses, and it's a wonderful position. But the best thing about where I work now is I get to do my soul work. I do retreats for the agents, and I do wellness, and I do mindfulness, and I do meditation in a corporate environment. So I was able to merge those identities. You will too. That's what this is about. So what will happen in this energy is you will be tested because your belief systems are going to be tested. Maybe you'll go to these social environments, these social places, and something will test your identity. Something will test your belief system. And that's where it's going to be revealed to you, gee, why do I really believe that? And where did that come from? Like that idea of you have to, work till your fingers bleed and 9 to 5, and that's how you get ahead in life. That was a belief system that was handed to me by my family of origin. It was never a belief system I chose. My soul certainly did not choose it. Now, I'm ambitious and I work very hard, but it doesn't have to be that limiting, restrictive, I'm going to die if I don't do this place. And I had to learn that by listening to my soul. So in this energy, you will be tested. Your social ideals, your belief systems, your religious belief systems, your political belief systems, your ways that you operate belief systems are going to be tested. And they're going to be threatening to you because your identity is tied to them. So that's the other thing when you're in self-perspective, ask yourself, where is my identity entrenched in this belief system? And why is it? And that's the metamorphosis I had to go through in, January of 2014. It is going to be exactly 10 years. Wow. Yeah, it was 2015, I think. Yes, it was 2015, January 2015. So reflect on how you form your belief systems and how you inform your belief systems, how you create them, where they come from, and how has that informed how you relate to things now, right? How are those beliefs informing your life to the point where they're keeping you in limited belief systems? What are your limiting belief systems? All right. And so if you can go into that kind of introspection, I know this is a heavy show. I know it's a lot. You can play it back, play it, stop it, think about it, play it forward. That's what I do with a lot of my teachers' videos. Um, this is a deep video, but it's such an important message. I cannot stress how important this message is right now if you really want to elevate and really want to take your life to the next level. This is something, if you can go into this introspection and really get into these underlying belief systems, these underlying patterns, this has the capacity to calm the chaos in your world. And the reason it'll do that is because you're going to be attracted to more meaningful things. That's what happened that summer when I let everything go that was creating the chaos and putting me on that hamster wheel. And I went to more meaningful things. Since that time, for the last 10 years, almost 10 years, my life isn't chaotic. My life is peaceful because I really know now that my beliefs lie in meaningful things. My beliefs don't lie in those identities and those belief systems that were never mine to begin with. So that sense of internal relief that I found, that's how the world works. That's how we orient ourselves, is when we're not in the chaos, when we're in the place where we're being attracted and pulled along by our soul space, by what our soul really knows we came here to do. And the way we find that is by that introspection, getting into those underlying places where we're allowing life to restrict us and figuring out why, and then going towards those more meaningful attractions. So this is about service to yourself. This is about, and I put something on Facebook today, and the quote that I made, because it came to me upon arising from sleep this morning, was, it's hard to live with nothing. And it is. When we're living a life where we're not satisfied, where we're not having people be kind to us, or we're not having someone that we really need to have more caring for us or more nurturing isn't giving us that, and we're living in that space of desert, of nothing, it's hard, but it's harder to live in abuse. And neglect is abuse. And when we're neglecting our soul space, we're living in abuse. And we're doing it to ourselves through the restrictions and the lack of self-introspection. And if we can do that and get under those underlying reasons of why we're stuck in these really damaging patterns, these patterns that are there because we have unprocessed emotional dynamics, right? I never sat down and thought about during that time frame for a long time. I didn't sit down and think about, is the way my dad raised me and the belief system he gave me, is that really the way I'm supposed to be living? Is that really mine? And when I did, that's when I realized I had to unravel it and I had to give up certain things. And one of them was that business. And so that was a really heady time. But it was also a time when, as the layers started to strip away, even though I was in this place of nothingness and ungroundedness, my soul was being attracted to more meaningful things that were replacing that feeling. And so, yeah, it's hard to be in nothing, but it's much harder to be in abuse. And so be brave. And when you're looking for and seeking what that attraction is, it's right there. I'm just looking at my little notes that I wrote today. It's inside. And the mistake that people make, and we humans, we all make it, and I still make it sometimes, is when we're trying to figure out, and people come to me all the time like, I don't know what my soul purpose is. You do know. The problem is you're looking for it everywhere else. You're not going to find it on an influencer page on YouTube or on the nightly news or in what your sister's doing or in what that person who just posted just did or what your father told you to do or what your mom told you to do or what your partner's not giving you. You're going to find your soul purpose in the quiet, in the silence, in the, what do I really like to do? Well, okay, I like animals. So I like to ride a bike. I like to whatever, right? Like I was always fascinated by the stars and I became an astrologer. If you had told me 20 years ago, you're going to be an astrologer, I would have been like, I don't have time for that. I got an office to run. How stupid is that? This is my purpose. So it sounds silly, but the way that you can start is don't look outside, look inside, because that's where the soul purpose is. It's really inside. And also, a really big clue is because of the astrology and the way that we have been in the cosmos and the planets these last couple of years. Think about how have you changed in the last couple of years and what has been the running theme and pattern. And then go back and do a life review. Really just go back, just lay on the couch, turn off every device, maybe if you want to put on some soft music, and just think about your life. Not life today. Think about life as a kid, life as a young adult, life as a teenager, life if you're in your 20s now, wherever you are. And what have been the running themes? What have been the running themes? They're going to reveal your soul purpose, those running themes. What have you been avoiding? What have you been attracted to? Where are you going? Who are you becoming? And that's where we're going to do it. That's how you're going to know the obstacles. The other thing that I wanted to just mention very briefly is this is a time of tremendous consciousness being raised. And you're going to hear that phrase everywhere because there's going to be gurus coming out of the closet, coming out of the woodwork, coming out of this everywhere. Please be very discerning about who you're listening to. But consciousness is very heightened and we're being really super elevated in this. What does that mean? It means that the things that we are able to formulate, think about, relate to on a spiritual level are being super heightened and super elevated and super evolving in a very, very accelerated rate right now. So what I want to just remind you of is that consciousness is not what we have. Okay, you can be conscious of wearing Gucci sneakers. Okay, you can be conscious of wearing labels, right? You can be conscious of your environment, right? But it's not really consciousness. That's what you have. That's an external. Consciousness, and what we're talking about tonight, and really trying to find that soul purpose, that overcoming that obstacle to have that attraction of the soul space bring you where you need to be in life. That's consciousness. That's becoming awake. That's becoming awakened. That's becoming heightened and elevated in your life. That is what you are, not what you have. That is what you are. It's innately within you. So it's not the BMW you're driving. That's not your identity. That's not your consciousness. It's not the business you have. It's not your house. Those are things you might love and be attracted to, and you may identify with them in a certain way because of some underlying belief system that you haven't really looked at yet. But, and we all do it. I'm not saying you, I'm saying you as including me. But your consciousness, your soul, your awakening, your level of being, that's what you are. The only place you find that is within. It's all an inside job, guys. It's all an inside job. So I'm going to go to comments right now, and this energy is pulling us to do our inside job. Don't have a lot of comments. I guess I must have enthralled you. Hey, Christina, how are you doing? Aaron, astrology and exercise. Yes, the best of both worlds for me. I agree, Aaron. That's really appropriate that you said that about exercise. In this energy, and especially for you, Aaron, because you're in Aries, the North Node is there now, you're going to feel sometimes flooding of energy, like a flood of energy come in. And exercise is really important, guys. And I don't mean just going to the gym and lifting 100 pounds. Just walk. Just, even put on a couple of songs and dance around the house in the morning. But move the energy, because this is really important now to move the energy when we're trying to let go of South Node obstacles and ways that no longer serve us. It's really super important for us to move that energy even in the physical environment in our lives. Rearrange your furniture, go see people you haven't seen in a while, do things differently. And it's also very, very important to just move that energy when we're really trying to release that South Node and be attracted to the North Node. And that also, when you move energy, sometimes you'll have an aha moment. Like sometimes I used to get my best aha moments on the dance floor. Like I used to love to go out dancing and with my girlfriends and with people. And there'd be a point in the night where, I would walk into a club and I'd know like 50 people there. And, this is not that long ago. Sometimes I still do that. And there's a vibe and you'll all be on the dance floor just vibing and everybody's dancing together. And I get like aha moments then because I'm open. I'm in my consciousness, I'm in my vibe. It's a high vibe, and I'm moving energy. So when you do that, a lot of times you'll get a high vibe. A lot of times when I feel stagnant, I'll ask Alexa to play certain music, and I'll dance in the house, and just like I'll feel the energy and get the blood going and pumping, and goes to your brain, and all of a sudden your consciousness is just really heightened, and it's just so great. So remember that you got to move that energy. Really important from now until like January, February. Get in a routine. Marilyn Pisano says she walks the beach for saltwater therapy. Absolutely. When you're in a new moon, it's really important to do that. This is a Sag new moon, which is fire. So if you have fireplace in your house or even candle burning, like light a candle and just stare at the flame. That's a great way to get into a really deep introspection. You'll see things in the flame, if you even do a fireplace or if you have a wood burning stove or anything like that, if it's warm enough where you live and you can go outside. But fire is really important to do during this particular new moon ceremony or any kind of thing. And when I say ceremony and ritual, all it means is going really into silence, connecting, even if you do have a few people around you, but go into a place where you're really connecting. You can feel source, you can feel the energy of creation, and you're setting your intentions there. And you're just saying, this is what I want for my life. A great thing to do while the South Node and Venus are together, and, we've got Mars aspecting into the North Node with that fire on the new moon. Burn something that, really is, write down the habit, the bad habit, the things that's restricting you, the thing you want to move away from. Write it down and throw it in the fire to symbolically release it. And so I'm getting a message from Aaron saying he can't believe how you already embodied the new moon energy. I got to tell you, Aaron, who's watches the show often, Aaron and I message sometimes back and forth. And Aaron, you are always highly intuitive on the energy. The planets are speaking to you. And, it's my belief, and I know not everyone's going to get this, but it's my belief that these planets are within us. The planets are just stuff that not stuff, they're energy. Okay, the planets are just energy that we feel within us. They're guiding us. The planets, almost are like gods if you think about it. They're energy created by God source, so they're pulling us and prodding us and doing whatever. I'm taking an extremely immersive astrology course now with people from all over the world, and the instructor is from Sweden, originally from, I think, South Africa. And it's evolutionary astrology, which is you just read charts intuitively and somatically. And, you don't have all these archetypes that are written in stone. And I've always read that way. And I used to say, even before I started doing astrology, when I was just reading and doing medium work and doing, psychic readings, I always would ask people for the birth date because the birth date was my gateway to the soul. That's the astrology chart. So that's what I'm talking about allowing the soul to lead you to where you're supposed to go. You're intuitively already doing it in some way. Now we're in an energy where you can have the opportunity to embody that by healing the underlying belief systems that are causing the obstacles to be your security. Can't put it any other way. So move that energy, because it's the energy is talking to you. Gira says she doesn't have the energy. So if you're feeling depleted, I know a lot of times that will happen. Like, for instance, the South Node in Libra right now is my sun sign. So I'm going to feel a little depleted these next 18 months. That's what happens when the South Node is conjuncting or aspecting one's sun. So I've been really taking better care of my physical body and really trying to make sure I ask my body what it needs and give that to it. I really didn't eat a lot last week. I was just running around a lot and I had some things happen, and sometimes I forget to eat and I don't have an appetite. And so I sometimes will stop, when my day is winding down, I'll stop and I'll just like tune into my body and I'll say, what do you want? What do you need? And sometimes my body will say it wants a filet mignon, Sometimes my body will say I want eggs, and I just always give my body the nutrient that it's asking and requiring. Like right now, I know my body wants water. And when I go home, I'm going to drink a lot of water before I sleep tonight. So Gira, I would say if you can tune into that. The other thing I will also say about when you feel depleted or you feel like you don't have energy, it's because you are in some kind of situation that's chaotic and draining you. So go into stillness. You have to shut everything down. Also, devices, electronic devices, and things like that, shut them down. Take a digital detox. All right. And Marilyn says she's doing a lot of inside work. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Way to go, Marilyn, because now is the time. For those of you who want to have your best year ever in 24, do the inside job now. Do the inside work, lots of introspection. Listen to what spirit is telling you and guiding you. Listen to what your inner voice is telling you to do. Listen to where in your life right now you're being told to do things differently. The Mercury retrograde that we have right now is bringing in aspects from certain dates. It's going to repeat the energy right around Christmas that happened on Thanksgiving. So if something happened on Thanksgiving that you were reacting to or relating to in a certain way, do some inside introspection to see if when it comes again at Christmas time, because it's going to, the day after Christmas especially, when it comes around again and cycles again, because that's the retrograde period, you get 3 times, see how you're going to do it differently. Go inside now and think about, okay, this energy is going to repeat at Christmas on the 26th. How am I going to react differently? Then the third time it comes around is January 8th, and that's usually the healing. All right? That's the reconciliation. So know that and be ready for it. That's part of, having an astrologer like me to guide you, because those dates are going to be significant with this new moon energy and the Mercury retrograde energy playing on being introspective to try and find a different way to relate to things. And it's going to repeat the pattern for you that came around Thanksgiving. It's going to do it 25th, 26th of December, and then January 8th finally reconciles it. All right? So know what's going on, kiddos. Let's see what other comments I have here. Okay. If anybody wants a question or comment in the you can do that. Yeah, Anita says it sounds freeing. It is. It's absolutely liberating. If we do this work now, and it could be painful, let's face it, we might have some grieving to do. I grieved when I closed my business. Was probably the best thing I ever did, because I rode the wave. It was an amazing time. The abundance was amazing in every way. And when I closed it, I think it was beautiful timing for that as well, because it was abundant in another way. I was abundant in another way. And so from now on, when I have divine guidance telling me to do something that's uncomfortable for me in a certain way, but I know it's right, I'll never question it, because that was my, baptism by fire, really. Like, do it. Just keep doing it. Don't look back. Just look forward. And that's the other thing I wanted to say. And if anybody has a question, just put it in the comments. We have a few minutes. The other thing I was going to say is, one of the mistakes we make in an energy like this is we get really caught up, because that Mars and, aspecting this new moon will make us a little bit aggressive. And we get really caught up in staying in the obstacle, staying in the situation. Like, somebody doesn't appreciate us, or somebody's abusive, or somebody's a pain in the ass, or, oh, that sister, I can't stand her, or whoever it is. And we get caught up in the problem. It's like, you have a fender bender in the morning, and everybody you meet that day, you're talking about your fender bender. Oh, you should have seen what happened to me. You should have seen this or that. You're staying in the dot of the obstacle, of the negativity, of the limitation. That can be the backlash of this energy. So when you're trying to overcome an obstacle, don't keep thinking about the obstacle. It's not about the other. It's not about the incident. It's not about the situation. It's about you overcoming something that you need to change in yourself and the way you react it. That's really, really it. So Gina says Thanksgiving she had eye surgery. She had her first eye surgery, was covering 12/27. I go back to make the appointment. That's good, because it means that they're probably you're reconciling. You're in a period of doing things the way they're supposed to be done. It's like divine timing. And then by January 8th, you're probably going to be like, wow, I'm doing really great with all of this, So congratulations to you, Gina. I think you're going to have a really okay time, and healing to you. I'm sending up hearts to you. Everybody in the Zencuda community, send up some hearts to Gina for her speedy recovery and beautiful guidance for her surgery and her doctors and everything that she needs. Send in love there, babe. And also, whenever we have anything with our eyes, it's because Spirit is showing us something. He's really showing us clear vision. and, divine things. So take that with you. Everybody's sending you up hearts, kid. So that's about all for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. I forgot to do our commercial. Bobby can put it on the end. And you can always find me on Zencuda Official on Instagram, Zencuda on Facebook, and also on YouTube. Thanks so much, guys. I look forward. Next Monday will be my last show, and then we take a 2-week hiatus because I'm not going to be on Christmas Day or New Year's Day, but I'll be making some videos in between that you can catch on the YouTube channel. So thanks so much. And the last show that we do next week of the year is going to be next Monday. Will be a little bit of a retrospect and a little bit of what went on this year at the Soul Space. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Georgia Rose, founder of Zencuda. You can watch me on the Soul Space podcast every Friday at noon on Channel 20 for spiritual guidance. And as you all know, that is how I first opened into my own psychic gifts, was through the angelic realm, astrology. So we've got Mars and the Sun together in Scorpio, which creates a lot of combustion. In the astrological world, we call that a kazemi, and tarot. When the Four of Cups right side up, it means we have a lot of choices to make and we're not looking at what's really being divinely given to us. We're too busy in the busyness of the choices to really see the divine intervention, the divine timing, and the divine guidance. We're the place. Watch the Soul Space podcast.
All right. Is everybody having a good time tonight or what? That's what I thought.
Gonna give up a